Part 1. Chapter 1. You shouldn't tell a story till it's over. And I'm not sure this one is. I'm not even certain when it really began, unless it was the morning Dad thrust my bawling brother Julius back in Mum's arms and picked up the ringing telephone. The palace? Why ever would they want me at the palace? Anyone listening might have begun to think of royal garden parties or something, but even back then, when I heard people saying things like the Black Horse or the Palace, I got a different picture. And that's because I've lived in hotels all my life. I don't even remember the first one, the Old Ship. Mum says it was small and ivy-covered with only 6 bedrooms. Then Dad was manager of the North Bay, and later he was moved to the Queen's Arms, where we were living then. So what's the Palace's problem? He listened so long and sighed so heavily that Mum had looked up from trying to placate Julius with his favourite furry rabbit even before we heard Dad say, "And I suppose you've forgotten I already have 30 beds to run here, not to mention a small son who makes sure nobody can even think." That's when he noticed us watching, and, turning his back, finished almost in a whisper. "All right, I'll drive over just to take a look." I don't know what time he got back, but it was late. Our flat was above the kitchens, and the huge extractor fans had stopped humming. The only sounds left were the usual muffled telephones and scurrying footsteps. At breakfast, he said to me, "You ought to see it, Natalie. It's enormous. It's got over 60 bedrooms, and it sits on its lawns like a giant great wedding cake set out on a perfect green tablecloth." "When can we come?" He glanced at Mum, worn out from another bad night with Julius. "Soon. Before I finish there, I'll take you over for the day." But when we finally saw it, it wasn't for the day. It was with suitcases and boxes and bags. "I'm sorry about this," Dad kept saying. "I really did think this was going to be a short job." Mum tried to resettle Julius in the hot crush of his car seat. He squawked and struggled, and tense from the packing, she complained the whole way. "A few lumps of plaster falling in the guest's hair, you told me. 3 weeks at most till all the ceilings were fixed, and now it's wet rot, and dry rot, and problems with the piping, and the fire doors. Why can't the old manager cope? He's the one who let it all happen." Dad knew there was no point in answering. He just drove. "One man not up to his job," Mum grumbled. "And suddenly 3 weeks is 3 months, and Natalie has to come out of school a week before the holidays, and..."